Thanks for tuning in to the Vintage Cinema Review. On this week's episode, we're covering from 1981, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Magic and mystery is part of its history, along with the secret of the Ark of the Covenant.
That was good. I like what you did there. Yeah, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Harrison Ford, classic.
Yeah, definitely a classic. We hope you enjoy it. Speaking of which, if you are enjoying the show, leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify. On Apple, you can leave a written review. And sit back and relax and enjoy Raiders of the Lost Ark. Hey, this is Dave.
Matt.
And Zap.
And welcome to the Vintage Cinema Review,
where every week we review some of our favorite films from the past.
Hey, there ain't no late fees here.
Silence is golden. And be kind. Rewind.
Oh, it's dark down here. I can't really see. I'm kind of lost.
Yeah, like an ark.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a stretch, but it was a good one.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't even know how to put Raiders in. I was trying to think of like a football team or
Oakland?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Las Vegas now, right?
Las Vegas
right,
Raiders
Las
of Arks.
Mm-hmm. Has it been found? Do we know?
No.
We'll find out, I guess.
It's actually at the bottom of, it's down like 200 feet on Oak Island. The Curse of Oak Island.
Oh, yeah, you were
History
talking
Channel.
about that, yeah.
It's down there someplace.
I thought it was with Atlantis, the Lost City.
It might be.
So to be clear, today we're talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Which is not to be called.
Well, so there's a caveat to that.
Ooh.
So at a previous podcast, I had mentioned that the name of this movie is, in fact, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Its sequels are named Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Indiana Jones this, and Indiana Jones that. I think it was during Rambo.
Yes.
That was the hang-up. In fact, the first Rambo movie was actually just called First Blood. So later in the 90s, when they had X number of movies now made that were identified by or as Indiana Jones, they renamed the movie for like box sets and stuff like that. They would prefix it often with Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, just to keep it consistent. But for clarity, when this was released and for decades thereafter, it was called Raiders of the Lost Ark.
So it's like backtrack marketing.
Yes,
Let's go back.
indeed. It's rewriting history.
It works.
Well, they're doing it now in many different ways.
So yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark, rated PG. This one was released June 12th, 1981, which I didn't realize it was that old. I was kind of shocked.
81.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Wow.
This was directed by, big names here, Steven Spielberg.
Who?
Spielberg.
Oh. I thought you said Spongin.
Steve Spongin, yeah. No. He catered it. Screenplay by Lawrence Kasdan. Story by, here's another big one, George Lucas. And Philip Kaufman as well, whoever that is. When you're next to George Lucas in the names, it's kind of hard to...
You get lost in the shuffle.
For sure.
I'm just saying 81, Spielberg, Lucas. So they were like 20 at this time. 21, 22?
They were probably older than that.
Wow. So they're like 95 now?
Well, I don't know.
How old are them guys? That's crazy.
I would say they're in their 70s now. Be my
Late
guess.
70s.
Maybe.
The Deep South.
Yeah. But this was produced by Frank Marshall. Very important on this one. Music by John Williams. And we'll get into that later, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get into that one.
Oh, no doubt. Production company on this was Lucasfilm. No shock there. He's involved. Running time, I don't know if I said it in the beginning, it was 115 minutes.
Nice.
And budget on this, $20 million.
I hope they made it back.
No way.
I'm going to take a guess. Box office, $389.9 million.
God damn.
Is that our highest gainer?
I don't know. But
No, it's not, but it's for 1981.
that's huge money.
Yeah.
So to be clear,
How much was that?
the juice was worth the squeeze on that.
389.9.
In 1981.
Yeah.
That's worth $9 billion today.
Right.
That's like $9 billion in Canadian dollars.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I wonder if that was because there was a second release of this.
Yeah, they released it again in theaters
In 82.
in other countries because it was did so well. You know what I mean?
They ended up delaying the release of the VHS.
Right.
Because of that. They said, fuck it, hey, let's go for another round of this.
Keep making them go back. You know what I mean?
And they did.
There were a lot of scenes in this. I know if I would have saw it, I want to go see that again.
Sure.
Cool stuff that happened. But this was filmed, began on June 23rd, 1980. They started filming. I didn't get an end date on that, but I'm going to say it probably took quite a few months. Seemed like there was a lot going on in this, but filmed in France, Tunisia, and Hawaii.
Yep.
And also in England. They had some sound stages and different things they worked on in England.
I know the opening scene was filmed in Hawaii.
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
Yep.
Because they actually went back then, Spielberg, to film Jurassic Park there.
Also true.
Yeah.
Same
which
spot.
was pretty cool. I don't know if it was the same spot. It might have been. It could have been. Oh, fun fact. So they did film in Tunisia, like I said.
Yeah.
So they had to go in there and remove a bunch of the antennas off the buildings because of the time.
To bring it back.
To make it look like it's in the 30s. Because, it's supposed to be Cairo.
Was that Cairo 1936?
That's pretty much it for that fun stuff. So I'll turn it over to Zap for the cast.
Okay. The cast of Raiders of the Lost Ark includes, but is not limited to, Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, Alfred Molina as Satipo, who was one of his jungle guides, Fred Sorensen as Jock Lindsay, that's the float plane pilot,
Yes.
Paul Freeman as Rene Belloc, Denholm Elliott as Marcus Brody, Don Fellows as U.S. intelligence agent Colonel Musgrove, William Hootkins as U.S. intelligence agent Major Eaton, Karen Allen as Marion Ravenwood, Ronald Lacey as SS Sturmbannführer Arnold Todt.
Just to watch your Sturmbannführer?
That's the weird guy.
Okay.
The guy that you think is almost...
Is he facey guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
The facey guy.
Okay. Gotcha.
Wolf Collar as Oberst Herman Dietrich, John Rhys Davies as Salah, and George Harris as Captain Simon Katanga.
Nice. So that Karen Allen, she was in Animal House.
Correct.
And also a movie, I got to go back and watch because I remember everybody loved it. Not saying everybody, a lot of people. Starman. I don't know if I'm sleeping on that or if...
I might be sleeping on that. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Starman.
Yeah. I remember like people saying how great it was, and I didn't think I liked it back then, but she was in that as well. So, yeah.
Starman. That was Jeff Bridges, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Yeah.
It's funny you say Jeff Bridges. I just watched Against All Odds. Did anybody ever see that movie?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it, and it kept coming up on something you should watch on my Netflix. So I watched it the other day. It's actually a great movie.
Good soundtrack.
Yes, yeah.
Was it Phil Collins?
Phil Collins.
An incredible song by Phil Collins. Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But the song was made actually it was a book, and I think it was a movie, and then there was another movie. Then that was Against All Odds. But yeah, he was asked to do a song for it. I mean, it was a great movie. Jeff Bridges, talented.
Speaking of bridges, I guess we'll take the bridge over to Matt's synopsis.
Take it to the bridge.
Yeah.
All right. Raiders of the Lost Ark. I had to put on my reading glasses for
I like
this.
it.
Yes, thank you.
Studious.
Thank you. This is it. Harrison Ford and filmmakers Steven Spielberg and George Lucas team in the first Indiana Jones movie. They set a whirlwind tone for Indy's adventures to come. Here you'll find archaeologist Jones up to his neck in danger, and Snake Alive up to his kneecaps in squirming reptiles. Indy hates snakes. He hates Nazis too, and he'll stop at nothing to keep those goose-stepping goons from obtaining a mystical Ark of the Covenant. Hang on and enjoy. The most incredible series of action and stunt set pieces I've ever seen in a movie. Roger Ebert.
About time you like something.
It's about time.
This is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
That's one of the. That's a good little synopsis.
It's short and sweet.
Yeah, that is. That's good.
I really think only the middle of that was the synopsis.
Yeah. The rest of it was kind of like ass kissing.
Yeah, the rest of it was fluff. They dropped three popular names. They dropped George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, and then Roger Ebert.
I don't like how they say Indy hates snakes because that takes away from like the whole series of like you should watch the movie before you know that. You know what I mean?
That, yeah. I like when they put on there like Academy Award nominee. I saw something. It was like on Mad TV or one of those funny ones there, like Academy Award attendee.
Yeah,
that person's name. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Somebody's arm candy, or he stole a ticket.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about this is when I was watching this, and I
got to give us a chance to guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know, Matt. What's funny about
what
this?
was funny? Yeah.
No, but watching this, thinking how old we were in how do we all know this movie from growing up?
We saw it later, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I mean-
Yeah, we did, but I'm saying like when did it just?
I was talking to Zap about that before when you were walking down. And,
Okay.
So my guess is like Temple of Doom was next, right? And that was what, 84?
Yep.
So let's just say
That was the
maybe-
one with Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I remember that one.
So maybe in 85, 86, we're watching that and like, oh, there's a one before this. And then you go back and watch Raider. There's no way I watched this. in
First,
81.
no way. And I'm with you. I had that same thought as I was going through this. The first one I would have seen at best, would have been Temple of Doom, but that would have been well after it was in the theaters. Now, I remember when it was in the theaters, man, I remember that the commercials and trading cards and like video, like Pitfall.
Exactly.
Yeah, Pitfall, yeah.
Like that was a thing because of Indiana Jones. Like people were really hyped on Indiana Jones.
Shit. They made that game then off of,
I think.
well,
Or at
you
least
inspired it or whatever.
That's
Yeah,
right. The
That makes
inspiration.
sense.
It's pretty much the same. Yeah, especially with the like when you don't do 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 do.
Yeah,
that
swinging
part.
on the
Yeah,
thing.
swinging on the vine.
I wouldn't have seen this movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, until late 80s. And it might have been like right before or right around when Last Crusade came out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, when we were growing up, did they play these movies like they do today?
No.
But didn't they have like a theater, like a Sunday morning? I know we
Well-
had Kung Fu Theater, but was there any like, did they play movies?
I cut you off too early, Matt. I'm thinking in today where they play these things in such constant
Yes,
rotation
yes.
all the time.
But remember, there's like a big like Sunday night movies or something like that.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that where I seen it? Because
Well,
I don't know
well,
if I rented it or not.
I
But I
know-
just remember this movie vividly.
I know it was on in 88 in Canada for sure.
Sure.
Oh,
It
we'll
was.
get into that.
Yeah.
Incredible.
For damn sure.
That was
For
a
damn
trip
sure.
down memory lane. Just made me smile.
Yeah. Thanks to Zap for that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Do we want to talk about that now or do we want to talk about that later?
We can talk about it as we go through the movie. So just Zap sent us, somehow he got his hands on, we'll just say this, a 1988 from TV copy of Raiders of the Lost Ark with commercials.
Check 6 action. Was it?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Check 6 action.
It was like a in Canada.
It is available on your internets.
Yeah, you can find it.
Yep.
So Zap was able to track it down, and you watch this movie. Somebody taped it on the VHS tape, and
with the tracking issues and everything.
yeah. So yeah, one of the first commercials that came on was a Foster's Australian Lager commercial. I thought that was pretty funny.
Hell yeah. Paul Hogan.
Paul
Yeah, dude. I don't think anybody knows who Crocodile Dundee is
Yeah.
Yeah.
out there, but it was a whole movie series. It was great.
I was laughing though at the tagline in Canada. I don't know if it's different there, but ours was always Australian for beer.
Correct.
Yeah.
And up there they were saying Golden Throat Charmer.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. or
That's
why it
some
was different.
nicknames for.
Yeah.
That's when it gets lost in translation from American English to Canadian.
It's like
must.
Foster's Golden Throat Charmer.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? Australian for beer.
Right.
Yeah.
But that kind of kicked it off. So speaking of that, why don't we start going through this movie a little
Hell
bit?
yeah. Let's do that. All right. Well, after a trek through the jungles of Peru and an attempt on his life by one of his hired hands, we meet Indiana Jones, professor, archaeologist, and treasure hunter. Making his way into a hidden temple and skillfully making his way past lethal booby traps, Indiana recovers a long sought-after golden idol. Barely escaping with his life and the idol, he's met by a tribe of Jovitos, led there by his rival and fellow archaeologist, Rene Belloc.
Mm.
Stripped of his prize and now running for his life, Indiana yet again narrowly escapes death, thanks to a waiting float plane.
Yeah, so the guy that was flying the plane had a Yankees hat on.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
So I was wondering about this. So he had a snake. So there was a snake up front, and he
He had a
said,
pet
"That's
snake, Reggie.
Reggie, do you think he named the snake after Reggie Jackson?"
Makes
Yes.
sense.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Because
Indy. That was the dog's name.
Different movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
different
damn it.
movie.
God.
But this opening scene, too, is very, very, like, it gets you rated in the movie.
Right, dude, right into it. I mean, this is. I remember reading stuff about George Lucas wanting to do this because he had seen basically like B-level movies, adventure movies like this when he was a kid, and he wanted to make one. So he made this, and you dive right in. Like, there's no story development, there's no nothing. Like, you're right into Adventureland with this. I mean, how cool is that when this guy's like, you see these booby traps sliding back and forth. He sees the other archaeologist, his body is dead because he was, hit by
Stuck
these.
there with the arrows through his head.
That was awesome.
That's amazing. I mean, the classic that scene of the idol swapping with the sandbag. Like he lifts off the idol and he puts the sandbag on its place. The forever eternal scene of being chased by the boulder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's right up in the beginning. Fun fact, this was the big screen debut for Alfred Molina.
Guy that died right in the beginning.
The guy who died right in the beginning. One of his guides through the jungle, Alfred Molina. If you're not familiar, at least I am familiar with his role as Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I recognize him now.
He was the bad bishop in the Da Vinci Code.
Mm.
But you're saying 1981 Spielberg movie. This is still going on. They still reenact this today at Disney.
Yes, yeah, I saw it. That was actually a good show.
It's packed. Yeah,
yeah.
We just went there a couple of years ago, and it's still packed. They still do the scenes with Indy running down, the ball rolling, or the boulder. Yeah, and the fight scene with the planes we're getting into later. But that's how iconic this thing is.
It's timeless. This is absolutely timeless.
And it reminded me too. You said about Pitfall, which I didn't even think about that game, but it had me thinking about video games like Tomb Raider. I would think was a game that was probably
absolutely
inspired by this. And
I thought that was based on Angelina Jolie.
Well, she's in it. She's in the game.
Oh no!
She's in the movie.
She's in the movie. Oh,
sorry, she plays,
I'm so confused.
Laura Croft is the character, but
for sure,
those adventure games where you're
Laura
searching
Croft
for a
is
treasure.
Every young man's dream.
Yeah, she is. But also like watching this now as an adult, I have an appreciation for archaeological finds and different things like that, and these hidden treasures. And there's people that talk about. I listen to Joe Rogan a lot, who have guys on that are talk about lost civilizations in these jungles that are buried under all kinds of. You basically can't see, you'd have to like do radar to find these like underground temples and stuff like that. So the whole excitement of maybe finding something that's been lost for
fake news.
I'm sure as when we were kids, like
how many archaeologists does anybody know?
We all wanted to go and find some magical place in the jungle, like we all did. That was just so cool to go do that. I'm sure we all had our own little adventures in the woods or some shit where it's like, oh man, I want to. You just had Indiana Jones on the mind.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what that piece was worth that he found, that little gold one.
I wonder. Yeah. It was worth a lot to the Jovitos.
True.
See, that's what I don't know. I just found watching this movie again. I was like, how do I know this movie so well? And I was trying to think how many times I watched it. And I was like, I don't think I watched it that many times, but I knew the whole movie.
You think from the Disney thing? Because you were just there?
I don't know. It's just like, you know it so well. And you're like, how many times have I, even like, the ending scenes and the scenes in the snakes and everything. It's like, how do I know it? When did I see it?
Yeah.
That's one thing I like about these reviews, because you think back and it's like, I don't really even know, but this movie is so good you just know the movie.
You retain it. Yeah, you just retain it.
Even like with the shots, like I was like, how, like I remember this so well and just great movie.
It is.
Now back at campus, Professor Jones meets with two men involved in U.S. intelligence who consult him to gain an understanding of any correlation between the terms Nazis, Tanis, and the staff of Ra. Indiana and his associate, Marcus Brody, are swift to deduce that Hitler is searching for the Ark of the Covenant, the vessel in which the original stone tablets of the Ten Commandments are kept. In order to find the Ark, one must use the headpiece to the staff of Ra. The last one known to have the headpiece was Dr. Abner Ravenwood, Indiana's mentor, who since moved to Nepal with his daughter, Marion. Well, Indiana is now off to Nepal, and he's being followed.
Yeah, this is watching this now as an adult. Like I'm way into like history podcasts talking about World War II and World War I and just in general history. And I never really knew back then that that's true stuff, that the Nazis really were looking for.
Hitler was absolutely obsessed with the occult stuff,
with stuff and all that. Yeah,
with religious artifacts. Like he wanted to find it all. I think in his mind he knew it was a source of power to control people.
Yeah,
like if you had something that they worshipped and idolized, you would have their idolization.
See, Zab hit that on the head, because people were like, oh, he wanted that because he wanted to be like, he thought he was God, and he wanted to be like, he would be holy if he found it. No, he wanted to be able to control people. Like, I have this and I'm holding this, and look what I have. And people would be like, oh my God.
Look, it's actually shown or illustrated very well in this movie. So in the very beginning scenes that we had talked about, when Belloc steals that idol away from Indiana Jones, and he holds it up, and all the Jovitos, they immediately fall to their knees. Yeah. Same concept with Hitler wanting all of this stuff, which is, again, not just in this movie. That is an actual factual thing. Hitler was obsessed with this shit.
Yeah, and I'm sure I heard that maybe in history class years ago, but listening recently to a couple podcasts on, and all that was true. He would send guys.
Yeah, the SS went across Europe,
Yeah,
and they would take paintings. They had actual bunkers, like where they had all this stuff stashed.
Mm-hmm.
Anything they could find that had value like that.
So that was cool to see that it's actually watching it now, knowing a little history with that. It was cool to watch.
Dave, you're absolutely right. There has been so many History Channel shows and specials and spectaculars on all of this and then some.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's now, since this movie has come out, we've been obviously inundated with all this stuff. But back then, when they're talking about this stuff, there's just a mystique to it, like a serious mystique. Like, I didn't know what the hell the Ark of the Covenant was.
Yeah.
When I'm 10 years old or whatever, when I first see this movie in 88 or 87 or whatever the hell it might have been.
But I was going to ask you, like back then though, you like the 10 Commandments, at least you would have known that, or at least I'm sure we would have heard about that being in a Catholic school or the religion class, but the whole other aspect of it, that it was in a...
So we've talked about this before. Growing up Catholic, you're not necessarily reading the Bible like evangelical Christians. You're doing more... Catholicism is certainly more process and procedure and church dogma as opposed to reading the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So the mention of the Ark, to be clear,
thinking,
everybody knew of the 10 Commandments. Everybody knew the 10 Commandments. But the Ark...
You're probably thinking of the boat or something.
The
Catholics,
Ark holds them.
We're thinking of
tucked in.
We're thinking of Noah's Ark.
Right.
So, in fact, you had to ask older kids or older people or somebody who wasn't Catholic, like, what the hell is the Ark of the Covenant? Oh, and you ultimately would find out, like, it's featured and described in great detail in the Book of Exodus.
I thought it was where the nuns lived.
The Ark,
the Covenant.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they live in the covenant. Yep.
I thought you were saying like they took 2 of each nuns and like led them to something, and then
that was good.
No, but
that was a good play on words. Convent.
That's the convent.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
I mean, in my young mind, I might have been confused. But you're right. I guess I wouldn't have known Ark of the Covenant and what all that was. But the only thing they would have said in any of that opening scene, or not opening scene, but that second scene, I guess, would be 10 Commandments.
Right.
Would have registered with me like, 10 Commandments.
So, but that's us coming up Catholic.
Right.
Now, conversely, again, evangelical Christians might have known that just because they read the Bible, but they're more into the New Testament than they are the Old. Anyone who would have known this when they were our age would have been Jewish kids.
Yeah.
I mean, because Old Testament, that's that. I mean, hell, even
Moses,
even in at Sabbath at any synagogue, you're going to see the Ark of the Covenant all over the place, or at least you're going to see it every Sabbath when they have their Sabbath, when they read the scrolls of the Torah. Mm-hmm. It's right in a vessel that's made to look very much like that.
Wow.
Oh well. Anyway, I don't know enough about it. I wish I did.
Yeah.
All right. So now in Nepal, Indiana finds
Viva Nepal.
There we go. Indiana finds Marion, who's now a bar owner. He also finds that his mentor, Abner Ravenwood, is dead. Marion has the headpiece to the Staff of Ra, but Indiana isn't the only one looking for it. The man who'd been following him is a Gestapo agent named Arnold Todt, who has no problem torturing Marion for answers and ultimately sets her establishment on fire. Indiana returns to save both Marion and the headpiece, but not before Todt unwittingly burns an image of it into his hand while trying to collect it from the flames. Indiana and Marion make their way to Egypt to find the Ark.
So this is about time they would have broke for a commercial. There was 2 of them on there I was laughing at. Oh, Henry.
Henry chocolate. Yeah.
The candy bars, yeah.
Who has that? Who's that made by? It's not Snickers or Mounds or Hershey's.
Well, that's another thing. We'll get into a later commercial I wanted to ask you guys about. Well, maybe at the front or do the mailbag on it. But the other one was, I never heard of this. Rub A535. It was like
it's like a Bengay, like a sports cream.
Oh, yeah. Rub A535 for your sore, muscles or anything like that. So this is 88. I guess it was out in Canada.
It was a different time up in Canada.
Yeah,
a
lot of hockey players use that. That was big money.
So meanwhile, back to the movies.
Back to the movie. Yeah.
What we did just cover was, so we saw the infamous shot contest where
that was a cool part.
This skinny little broad is going up against this huge, massive fat dude.
She got tolerance.
In how many shots? And she crushed him. Yeah. Absolutely crushed him.
Actually, Zap, we had one of those.
We did.
In high school.
We did.
Was that sophomore year?
Might have been junior.
Shot contest.
Yeah.
Might have been. Either way. It was a poor
did you know
idea.
about that one?
I
don't think you were there.
I wasn't participating. I know that, but I might have been there. Was it at Grandma's house?
Yes, it was at Grandma's house. There was actually in Grandma's table. There is remnants of burnt whatever.
Archaeologists are digging that up.
Yes, on the wood on her table.
It's entirely likely.
I think,
despite the fact that the house has since been sold, and I'm sure all of the furniture has since been burned or thrown away.
wait, that house is sold?
Okay. Meanwhile, back to the movie. Back to the movie. So we find that there was actually Indiana Jones had a falling out with Ravenwood, her father. It's not mentioned in the movie, but Indiana deflowered his daughter when she was just a teenager.
Oh, wow.
They cut that part out.
Yeah, I heard they rewrote and made her older.
There's
whatever.
There's extended. Yeah, there's extended dialogue in this that could have, would have, should have been there. That ended up being cut out. What's his name? It's either Spielberg or Lucas. I think it was Spielberg talking Lucas off the cliff. That was like, look, man, I get you your ideas of what you want for this guy, but he can't be this international playboy. We definitely don't want to mention that he's banging a pre-teenager. So yeah, let's just cut that part out.
I know we probably won't end up doing any of the other movies, so I'll ask about it now because it's not like we're going to cover it in the future. But the Sean Connery character later on, is that Indy's dad or her dad? Or
Indiana's the dad.
That's Indy's dad.
Okay.
Because again, it is in this movie that he had a falling out with Abner Ravenwood because he messed around with Marion. But in this particular scene here, right before the Nazis show up to burn her place down, he says, "Where's Abner?" And she says, "Abner's dead."
Oh, so he died. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got you.
That part of the cut that made to the theaters that we are all familiar with was removed, and in fact, she mentions that he died in an avalanche climbing Mount Everest because they are in Nepal.
Right.
Viva Nepal.
Viva Nepal. This, so far, if I'm correct, this is the first time we hear the sound of punches. I know I'm saying like Indy's punches.
Yeah.
With fists. So we've talked about this in other podcasts that there is no other stronger, more robust sound of a fist hitting a face than when Indiana Jones throws a punch.
Punch to the face.
The sound effects were over the top.
Speaking of which, the sound effects, the fun fact, and I hope if you have it, you can by all means cut it out, but fun fact, the sound of body blows in this was done by, the sound of a fist hitting a body in this movie was done by stacking up piles of leather jackets
and pounding
on with a wooden baseball bat.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
That's why the hardcore, smack, whatever sound that is.
Another classic textbook Indiana Jones thing we first see in the scene that just ended is the map and flight scene, where you see the line going across the map and shit like that, which has become textbook classic. It's there, Indiana Jones movie thing, but this is the first time we see that.
Yeah, it probably saved them money instead of filming planes taking off.
Sure.
Well, they don't really do that in too many other, like you said, as purely strictly an Indiana Jones thing. Where you the drawings, going from here to here. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
I think if anybody else, and Matt's right, I think if anybody else were to use that, they would immediately say, dude, come on.
Yeah.
That's Indiana Jones. You can't do that.
Can't rip it off like that, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, now in Cairo, Indiana enlists the help of his friend and local excavator, Salah. As it happens, Belloc and the Germans are already in hot pursuit of the Well of Souls, which is the last known location of the Ark, and they've fashioned their own headpiece to the Staff of Ra, using the burn marks from Tote's hand. Unknownst to the Germans, however, they're digging in the wrong place. There was additional information located on the back of the headpiece that wasn't obtained from the burn, as well as measurements for the Staff of Ra. In a scuffle with the locals, Marion is captured and killed in an explosion. Throwing caution to the wind, Indiana and Salah are off to find the Ark.
Why in all these movies, whenever there's some sort of holy thing or something to find, it's not on Third and Oak.
Nope.
It's always called something like Well of Souls or
it's always somewhere like that.
Body of Evidence.
Right.
Some kind of weird shit.
The Body of Evidence. Amen.
Yeah, that scene, it happened during this part of the movie where he was fighting everybody in the city, and the one guy pulls out a sword and he's doing all those crazy moves, and Indy just pulls out a gun and shoots him.
Yeah.
So that was everybody was sick on set. They all had dysentery from eating.
I wonder if
that means the RZA.
I wonder if it was from bad dates.
It might have been, but Harrison Ford wasn't feeling well that day, and he's improvised. He's like, "What if I just shoot him instead of doing all the
action
scenes that are well, go with it, do it," and they let him do it, and it worked. Actually,
awesome.
It was one of the most memorable, iconic parts of the movie.
It's classic. It's just it's comedy.
Yep.
It's great. In fact, I think I read something about that too, where he was using whips that were anywhere from 6 feet to 16 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
And the scene was supposed to have been him standing that far away, trying to whip the sword out of the guy's hand.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And again, this guy's sick with dysentery, whatever, and he just tried and couldn't do it. And that's when he had said what you had mentioned. Jesus, can I just shoot this guy?
Yeah, we just get it over with.
You don't want to spread the dysentery all over the set.
No.
It's nasty.
There's also a scene in Buddy Juice, Juice from Pucks with Pros. He loves this movie. I told him we're doing it. He said there's a scene at the very beginning where if you pause it, you can see that
the whip.
The whip. There is no whip in his hand, but there's the whip sound.
Is that where he hits the guy with the gun?
No, it's from the beginning. It's from the very beginning. I think from when he was
fighting the locals.
No. The very beginning of the
Jovitas?
movie, before he gets on the plane in the water and takes off. Yeah, the natives are there and all that. I think it's from in that part of the movie.
Oh, okay.
But there's a scene where you hear him with the whip sound, but there's nothing in his hand. You got to pause it, I guess. I couldn't find it.
All right, Juice, let us know what it is in the minutes.
Find a minute mark.
Yeah.
Here's another fun fact he told me. His friends loved this movie so much, him and his friends, that they would record the audio and play the audio in their car or like when they drove around, just the audio of the movie.
So they could have their own little book on tape.
Basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Juice,
great.
who are you?
Yeah, right. He
That's
loves
cool as
Raiders
hell,
of the
man.
Lost Ark, though, man. That's cool.
That is cool.
I did not like the little monkey in this segment.
No,
the monkey
me
was
neither.
cool. That monkey
Yeah.
was a piece of shit. He was a stool pigeon. He was a spy. He was a monkey spy.
Oh, fun fact. Like, I thought this movie was where they ate the monkey brains, but that was the second one.
That's correct.
Because you guys remember Faces of Death?
Yes. Yeah,
And then we all thought it was real when we were growing up, but it was completely like just bullshit.
Some of them were.
No, because they showed somebody getting electrocuted and stuff like that.
Yeah, some of them are real, though. I think.
Really?
Yeah, Faces
I didn't know
of
that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought the monkey scene was in this, but it's not. You got to watch the second one.
Okay.
Go back to this one.
Using a correctly sized makeshift staff of Ra and the headpiece, Indiana locates the Ark. Lo and behold, Marion isn't dead after all. Indiana finds her in captivity and convinces her to remain while he and Salah retrieve the Ark. Digging all day and into the night, Indiana and Salah obtain the Ark, and just as they lift it from its desert tomb, Belloc and his henchmen are there once again to take what Indiana has found. Marion and Indiana are left for dead in the buried temple, but after some clever maneuvering and wall collapsing, they find their way out. They locate the Ark's whereabouts at the Germans' airstrip, and after a tense fight scene and explosions everywhere, the Ark is transported away by land instead of air. In a daring testimonial to Indiana Jones's awesomeness, he hijacks the truck carrying the Ark and returns to Marion and Salah in Cairo.
Yeah, that was some scene there with the truck when he goes underneath. And that's part
absolutely
there,
this one. Absolutely.
The guy shoots him in the arm and then...
Dude, he's not letting that Ark go, man.
Nah.
He's not. The airstrip fight was pretty amazing. I mean,
that was cool too, yeah.
The gas trucks and Marion stuck in a thing, and he's fighting the bald dude, and the bald dude just keeps beating him until the bald dude gets hit with the blades.
Again, Disney.
Yeah.
That's the
they
whole...
do all that
they
in
redo the whole
that
thing.
Disney thing too, yeah.
That's awesome. This is where we find out that Indiana Jones is afraid of snakes.
Yes. And some of those snakes in there, they said if you look closely, some of them were like lizards. Some of them were like, they weren't even real. I mean, they were,
I think they
real,
said like
but they were
10,000 reptiles were used for that.
So hilarious. Salah says to Indiana Jones, "Ooh, asps, very dangerous. You go first."
Yeah, right.
Soup, sala, and breadsticks.
That one cobra, I'm sure it's film magic or whatever. When it's like uprating his face, man,
Sure.
I'd be, no way. What's his name? The magician, David Blaine. He's somewhere training now, like with these guys to like
escape
snake
the Ark.
charmers.
Oh, snake charms. Okay.
To with king cobras and stuff, and they have the actual anti-venom on site
In case he gets...
Just in case.
Wow.
But like I'm just thinking about that with these snakes and stuff, even in these movies. I mean, I'm sure they use like camera effects to like keep you out of danger, but I know one of those king cobras killed a python.
Correct.
They said during filming and
That is
stuff.
correct.
So there were definitely real snakes in there.
Dude, so here's a real snake story for that. Since in this scene, so some of the handlers or whatever, or cameramen are there, and you get used to, or you're taught to get used to these snakes, right? Like dude, you're going to be around these guys for a while.
And they can sense it. The snakes sense your
Fear, absolutely. So this one dude, this one camera guy got bit by a snake, this python or whatever kind of snake, hung on to him.
Yes.
Like would not let go. And the guys you don't want to mess around with. So this guy just calmly says to somebody else or whoever's around, could somebody please grab the other end of this snake and pretend it's a whip. Just whip from the end of the snake's tail all the way to its head.
Shit.
And that happened. The snake released, and the snake.
That was that.
That was it.
Wow.
That is a fun fact.
That is. Those ones, though, like they'll bite you, I guess, but they're not poisonous like that. It's just more of the pain. Like some of the, like pythons, right?
Well,
they'll wrap around you. And
that python is a wrapper.
But they can bite too.
Yeah, but the python, when they bite you, their teeth are like this, so you can't pull. You can't pull your arm out because their teeth go backwards. So that's why once they have you bit, they hold on.
Oh, they're like fish hooks.
Yes, like fish hooks. They go, so you can't pull your arm or whatever. Like an animal can't get out by backing out because then you just get deeper into their thing. So they say they can cause like really bad lacerations.
Lacerations.
That's a cut for anybody out there.
I thought finding the Ark, when him and Salah found the Ark and they're lifting out, like that was pretty cool. Like again,
that was a good scene.
If you're a kid watching this scene, or if you're anybody watching this scene, like you see this massive glow and all this amazingness of this Ark coming out, even despite the fakeness of them lifting off what was, I'm sure, a styrofoam lid to that big cement box in which the Ark was kept.
Well, that's one of those
good.
With the anticipation. What's inside?
Yeah.
What's it look like?
What's in the Ark? What's in the Ark?
Well, the picture of that, I think that wasn't that in the Bible. The actual.
I think they mimic it like off.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was an actual
modeled it. I should say after the description.
What they say the Ark looks like.
Correct. So again, there is a full description of the Ark listed in great detail in the book of Exodus. I think it's Exodus chapter 20 something. You will hear all dimensions by cubits as to how big the Ark is and what it looks like and all that good shit.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, now aboard a steamship, Indiana and Marion are headed to London with the Ark in tow. Those Nazis don't give up that easily, though, as the boat is intercepted by a German submarine the next day. Marion and the Ark are taken aboard the submarine, while Indiana, whom the Germans think is dead, sneaks his way onto the submarine. The sub is heading for an island, where Belloc intends to wield the power of the Ark for himself. Arriving on the island and trailing the Germans, Jones reveals himself and threatens to destroy the Ark with a rocket launcher. Belloc knows Jones better than he knows himself and reminds him that he would never destroy such a historical item. Indiana is taken prisoner and is soon to witness what the Ark has in store.
Yeah, so that German U-boat, they actually stole that from. They were filming the movie Das Boot.
Really?
Yeah. So
Das Boot?
Yeah, they went over stole one of their props.
Can we steal your prop? That's awesome.
Well, the thing is, I don't know if they didn't relay it or and they were like, "Where's our boat?" And they're over there filming, in Raiders of the Lost Ark. They were using it that day over there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So they were trying to film, and they're like, "Where did it go?"
Well, I guess they went looking for it. Like, where'd our boat go? Somebody stole our boat, our U-boat.
I wonder if that was the same one in Hunt for Red October.
It might have been. So those U-boats are like submarines. They'll go
Correct.
underneath. Yeah.
So this is actually the third. This now marks the third scene where we see a map with a red line going on it. So the first one, the first two were with flights. This is the third one. This one is with the boat. Kind of neat. Fun fact: if you didn't notice, that Captain what's his name? Captain Katanga, the black captain of the basically they're pirates. They're not pirates. They're merchants, but they're on-demand shippers, right? They never have like a schedule. They just sit there in the docks waiting for illegal shit to be, hey, look, man, I got this thing that I got to send from here to wherever. Can you take care of it? Sure, man, I'll do it.
Right.
So that's what their trade was. Anyway.
Ubers of the sea. Basically.
Correct. The Ubers of the sea. Yeah. So if you guys watch Harry Potter, okay, so in Order of the Phoenix and then in Deathly Hallows 1 and 2, there's the one black guy who's friends with everybody, friends of the good guy. That's Kingsley Shacklebolt. That's the same. That's the captain.
Oh, from same person.
Yeah, same person.
Wow.
So he was acting a long, long time ago.
He's been around then. Yeah.
He's definitely been around. That George Harris. He's been acting a long, long time.
Nice. And I think maybe Indy got lucky that night on the boat. Were they kind of insinuating that?
Marion, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Marion.
she's all grown up now.
Yeah. she's looking good on the
I think
boat.
she got to like second base.
When they had her out on the maybe got to second base.
Yeah, by now she's wearing that white gown with
I don't know.
with the whatever.
The way he gets through those tunnels and all that, I don't think he fails on any mission. I don't know. I'd be surprised. But I'm looking at him up on the, looking at her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was looking at
It's
him
okay,
too.
Dave.
He's hot. Yeah, he is hot.
Is this your coming out episode?
It is.
Okay.
But when they were up on the,
It's Indy. It's Indiana Jones.
yeah, when they were on the up on the deck of the boat, and she had that white, like gown, and the wind was blowing. You could make everything out. Yeah,
That's an evening gown.
Yeah,
That's an evening
that was
gown.
looking good.
He stays with her through all these years.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
She's in the last one.
yeah, all wrinkly and
Oh,
shitty.
she was in that.
Yeah. Is that AI? Did they do them in AI in that or no?
Yeah, oh God, yes. There's a shit ton of AI in that. A shit ton. Oh yeah, I like the part where, I mean, again, Captain Katang is like, look, man, I'll protect you, Indiana. I'll protect you, chick. And so he's like, look, man, you can have the boat, you can have the ark, but let us have the chick.
Yeah,
Like that was, I mean, it was neat, but it was neat the way he did it insofar as, look, we can sell her as, a slave or something, or as a prostitute. We'll make more money off of her, at least, a little something for the effort.
right. Just something. Yeah,
We can sell her. We get some money off of that.
right.
That's exactly what he said, essentially.
I mean, this chick's
He's a businessman.
Hey, she is. But this girl is like, they're bartering the whole movie with her.
Yeah.
Like, that one French dude wants her, and he,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Everybody wanted Marion.
She's the ark.
She's got the ark.
Yeah.
She carries the tablets.
Mm-hmm.
He said he opened it up, all ghosts popping out. Man, baby.
God damn, you need a washcloth. All right, here we are. Let's see. Ark has in store. The ceremony commences. And when the ark is finally opened, only sand is found.
Bummer.
But within moments, however, countless spirits appear and surround all onlookers, all but Indiana and Marion, who are keeping their eyes closed in order to avoid witnessing the ark's power. Bolts of energy from the ark kill the mass of Nazi soldiers. Tote's face and skin melt away, and Belloc explodes. Indiana and Marion open their eyes to find that all in attendance have vanished, lifted away into the night sky, and the ark has since been resealed. Now in Washington, D.C., Indiana is rewarded by the U.S. government for retrieving the ark. Despite his protests and questions as to its current whereabouts, he's simply told that it's safe and is being studied by the country's top men. Our movie ends with the Ark of the Covenant being crated and stored in a nondescript location among countless other crates.
That was a cool part. I always liked that part.
At the you talk about the melting.
The very, very end where they just push it in these
big
warehouses where they have stuff that we don't even know about yet.
You don't even know.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember.
That's where they have aliens and stuff.
Dude, I remember being a kid and watching that, and like, so I've talked about it before. So I grew up with like this group of kids, like that we might as well have been the same kids from Stranger Things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up with this group of kids, and we would watch this movie, and then just for hours, we would just sit there talking like, oh, well, what else is there?
What is there?
What else is in there? And somebody, of course, says, oh, well, blah, 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 is there? It's not there. You don't know that. Sure is, man. I got it. My dad told me. No, you don't know shit.
My dad's stronger than your dad.
That's right. My God's stronger than your God.
I mean, that was cool. And then the iconic scene is the face melting. I mean, that's the one that I remember.
For damn sure. That's the one.
See, that's the shit that pisses me off about these movies. How do we remember that? How is that ingrained in our minds?
I mean, that's a special
so
thing.
hard. Like, I don't get it.
Well, prior to that, when did you see a face melting off a guy after a really cool movie?
Right.
Exactly. But I'm just saying when I try to go back on some of these movies and like, where was I? What was I doing? Did I see it in my basement? Was I upstairs? Like, how do I know these scenes? Was I at a friend's house? But you know it, like, was it just, I think it's like big media, man.
So it's interesting.
It's big media.
If Temple of Doom was rated PG-13, primarily because of the scene where the guy reached in and took his heart out.
Right, violence.
When he's
beating in front of him.
That's right. When he's strapped to the mat, basically the equivalent of a box spring, and the high priest reaches in and pulls his heart out, and it's beaten in front of him. Yet in this movie, a guy's face melts off.
There was no PG-13 in 81.
Yeah, this is like
This
Poltergeist was like
this
that
is
too,
PG-RX. I think that's all they had.
Well, so was Poltergeist PG or R?
It was PG.
Okay. I mean, I know we did it. I just can't remember.
Yeah, it was like that. This is one of those movies in the early 80s. It was just like,
I guess it depends on the rater you get at the time. Rater.
yeah.
that you get
Not
at the time.
Rater of the Lost Ark.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I like that.
Ooh,
But
Raider of the Lost Ark.
yeah,
he's the Rater of the Raider.
Rater. But yeah, this got a PG rating, and I mean, there wasn't really language in it. It was more the violence and stuff. But I know as a little kid seeing that, I remember it stuck out in my head. Anytime you see anything like that, I think it's gonna ingrain that image in your head, and that's the part that I remembered. All the other stuff. Now I have the box set of this movie, so I watched it maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and just watched it again. But before that, that's the only part I really would have remembered from Indiana Jones. That and the probably that, and just like the parts with him, like, you know, with the whip and that, it would have stuck out in my head, like what he was wearing and that. But I wouldn't have probably remembered specific parts, like just the Nazi stuff, and then that I would remember that part of the movie. You know what I mean?
I mean, dude, it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
I remember like the boulder, the face melting. I remember like the scene on the trucks where, like, you know, from the mountains and stuff, and he had I don't know. I remembered so much of this movie, but I was like, when was the last time I've actually sat down and watched this? I don't know. But I just know the whole movie.
Question for you guys, and maybe this is just like way out there even thinking this, but thinking about symbolism in the movies. And I was thinking about, like, they made reference to this ark being powerful enough to level mountains and take down whatever army would have this would basically control the world. And it got me thinking about like an atomic weapon, and almost like the symbolism there of the ark being kind of like an atomic bomb.
Sure.
And the U.S. basically saying we need to get that before they get it and have it, and then tuck it away, and, you know, which we didn't. But it got me to thinking about that symbolism. Like, maybe you could look at it that way. Like the Germans didn't succeed in, you know, in the real world in World War II to get that, but that's what they were going after.
So the Ark of the Covenant is basically Oppenheimer.
It's like an atomic bomb. Think of it that way. Like, if whatever army has that, you know.
Well, yeah, if you open it up, people are like, let me see what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Your face is all melted.
Let me check out that sand. Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's not, yeah,
It
but
just melted.
But the timeline matches up, you know what I mean? Which if they would have got an atomic bomb before us,
They would have won.
it would have been bad.
Some
Yeah.
deep
Sure.
shit, man.
They would have won. It would have
Yeah.
been Man in the High Castle. If
Can't
you guys
believe-
haven't seen that
I
series,
yeah.
wanted to see that, yeah.
watch that series.
It's where Japan and Germany like split us in half, right? And all that.
It's what would have happened if
If they won.
the Axis won.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would have been crazy.
How many seasons of that were there?
Oh Christ, Man in the High Castle.
Yeah. Because I've seen a couple. Like, I'm still behind on that. But that was a great series.
I want to say anywhere between 3 and 5.
Okay.
Well, you know, that was some cool stuff about that, but I guess it's about time for fun facts.
Love that. Even cooler stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the
So
stuff I think
fun.
people like. Yeah. Who wants to lead it off? Zap, it's your movie, so why don't you lead us off?
Well, let's see. I already mentioned about the name change in 2000 to Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark to enable consistency with the other films in the franchise and the show that they had or other shows by then. Fun fact. Indiana Jones was originally named Indiana Smith.
I don't know about that.
That's so
one.
American. I like it.
Indiana Smith.
Is Indiana a real first name? Is there anybody named that?
The dog's name, Indy.
Some dog is named Indiana someplace.
That's it, though.
I don't know. I have never heard of I've never met anyone named Indiana, but I wonder
After this.
were there kids named Indiana?
Or somebody named their kid Raiders, and then they got pissed when they
No.
changed it. Yeah.
Maybe.
Matt, you got any fun facts?
The iconic scene of the boulder rolling down. I think it was a lot shorter when they filmed the movie the first time, and they looked back on it, and they were like, "This needs to be more dramatic." So they actually extended the ramp for the boulder probably like 50 feet
To make it longer.
to make it longer. So that whole scene, it was actually only like a 20-second scene, and they extended it to make it pretty cool.
That's pretty wild.
I read something about that too, where he ended up they filmed it from 2 different angles, but they filmed it 5 times, which means per angle. So Harrison Ford ran that 10 times, and he beat the boulder every time.
That's
job.
pretty cool, yeah.
I'm saying the boulder, again, it's a styrofoam ball.
It's just black. It wasn't.
It could have killed him.
Maybe.
Special effects.
What do you got, Dave?
Fun fact on this. So Melissa Matheson and Spielberg wrote a script during the downtime when they were filming this, and that script went on to become E.T.
That was Harrison Ford's first wife, I think.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was his first wife.
Yeah, so during this, they were writing E.T.
Fun
Which
fact,
one?
he's on his 3rd wife.
Who is Harrison Ford?
Yep.
Is this still Ally McBeal? Or?
Correct. It is Ally McBeal.
He's been with her for a long time, though.
Yeah.
He's keeping it real with Ally McBeal.
I've seen him on a show recently. It's on Apple TV. It's called what the hell is it called? I don't remember. They're like psychiatrists or something like that.
Hmm.
He's getting up there. I mean, he's got to be in his 70s now.
76, 77. He's got to be close to 80.
Yeah, he's still good in it. I mean, he's a good show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, yeah. But Ally McBeal's closer to our age, I would guess.
Dude, I saw something about Harrison Ford, a fun fact about him. In the movies in which he's been, those movies have earned close to $10 billion.
Damn.
The all
It's just
together.
like Indiana Jones and the Fugitive, right? Well, Star Wars. Shit. God damn it.
That's okay. And Air Force One. And
Air Force One.
Something
wasn't that
else.
great.
Patriot Games.
Band Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger.
Clear and Present Danger.
Mm-hmm. Is there any movie of his that sucked?
None that I can remember. Unless, Working Girl? No, that didn't suck.
No, Working Girl was a good movie.
Well, I don't know, but again, the movies in which he starred, you sum them all together, they've made close to $10 billion.
That's big money.
He's
Doors
made good
go like
money.
this, right?
Doors go like this for sure. Speaking of Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford, prior to being Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones could have been,
Tom Selleck.
we'll get there, Bill Murray, Nick Nolte, Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, Jack Nicholson, Jeff Bridges, Sam Elliott, and finally, the closest one that was almost, in fact, was Tom Selleck, who was initially cast, but he had to back out due to Magnum PI.
No, I could see that.
Oh,
Selleck-
shit, yeah. Absolutely. He would have been just fine. He would have been perfect as Indiana Jones.
Would he still have the stash, though?
Oh, hell yeah.
Of course.
okay.
You got to.
Hell yeah. Interestingly enough, Tom Selleck, so he was offered it and he was going to take it, but he could not take it because he was locked into doing Magnum PI. Fun fact, point one, there was a writer's strike right after he declined this movie, so they weren't filming Magnum PI for the whole time that he could have otherwise been starring in this movie.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he basically said, fuck, I can't. And then, shit, I can, but now I can't.
Fun fact, Indy's hat that we all know and love, the hat. It was a newer hat that was bought, but they wanted to have that worn look. So I guess people on the set took turns like sitting on it, rubbing it, stepping on it. That was the whole thing for like the whole movie. It was kind of funny. They would just grab his hat and sit there, stand on it, sit on it.
Just beat the hell out of it.
Beat the hell out of it to make it look like that Indy worn. And he had that throughout all the movies.
It was the same hat for each movie. That's pretty cool.
Fun fact, there are 2 hats featured in this movie, 2 Indiana Jones hats, and they're both the exact same style. One is a gray, dressy version that he wears, I think, when he arrives at
college.
When he's in school and stuff.
Yeah, it's again dressy. It's gray, and then there, of course, is the one that we all know and love, the leather worn one. But it's the same hat, same manufacturer, same model, same everything, just 2 different fabrics.
So for the part of Sala, they originally wanted Danny DeVito to play that.
Noted. He couldn't do it because of Taxi and because his agent was asking for too much money.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Same reason Tom Selleck couldn't, or so he thought, couldn't do it because of Magnum PI.
So that effect at the end with the spirits coming out and all that, the way they shot that was they put mannequins underwater and shot it in slow motion with like a fuzzy lens to give that look. And then they, I guess, put that over top of the film, and somehow that's a special effect they used. They obviously didn't have the technology we have nowadays to like achieve that look.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of looked like Ghostbusters. Remember when?
100%.
Yeah. That reminded me of Ghostbusters.
Completely reminded me of that. That's a great effect. That's pretty smart.
Well, it got me to thinking too, like the face melting in this and all that. So they had a pretty decent budget on this at what we say 20 million, I think it was. Another movie that I love that was low budget at the time, Evil Dead, that came out that had similar effects, but you could totally tell that was a $300,000 budget versus this 20 million that they were working with in this. It still didn't look great by today's standards, but it's definitely like more presentable than like stuff from like Evil Dead or like cheaper movies.
100%.
The budget was that, decent.
100%. I know, Dave, you mentioned him earlier in the very beginning. So the music for this was done by John Williams,
Right.
who is a name we all know and love. I mean, he's done everything good. He did Star Wars. He did Superman. He did E.T. I mean, he's done all the big ones, all of them. Fun fact, John Williams has been nominated for 54 Academy Awards. He is the second most. Now, you would think with that big of a number, he'd be by far and away the biggest. No, sir. He is, in fact, the second most nominated person of all time after Walt Disney.
Oh, wow.
Damn you, Walt.
After Walt Disney. Now, so that notwithstanding, he still has since won 26 Grammy Awards, 5 Academy Awards, 7 BAFTA Awards, 3 Emmy Awards, and 4 Golden Globe Awards. Like, this guy's amazeballs.
Take that, Taylor Swift.
You know what's crazy is that...
And your top 14.
Yeah. Now, this won some awards that year, but did not win for music, which shocked me because this song is, like, iconic. But guess who? It came in second. And guess who it lost to? Raiders of the Lost Ark.
So this was 81.
Yeah.
Superman 2.
Nope.
I don't know.
Chariots of Fire.
Oh,
that's a great one.
Yeah. When I read that, I was like, well, that makes sense because that is like a great song as well. Catchy that you just automatically connect to the movie. You know.
Did that win an Academy Award then? The Chariots of Fire?
For music.
For music, okay.
Now, Raiders of the Lost Ark did win awards that year, but not for music. You know, it came in second, which, you know, still, but I think it was in 82 when the awards were presented or whatever. But yeah.
Fun fact, Harrison Ford is not afraid of snakes in real life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just Indiana Jones.
Just that, yeah. I guess every hero has to have a weakness, you know what I mean?
Kryptonite, as it were.
As it were, yeah. What else you guys got?
I got, so that scene at the end with the boxes and the crates and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
That warehouse that you see this guy walking into what looks like just miles of warehouse going back. That's actually a matte painting.
Matt, you painted that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It's big money.
So that's just a painting that he's walking up against in the background.
That's wild. That was like Coming to America.
Correct.
Yeah,
exactly the same. Yep.
With the, it was like the Kingdom or whatever. It was all painted.
Yep.
So George Lucas actually owned an Alaskan Malamute. That was his dog, and his dog's name was Indiana. That's how you
got the name.
Yes.
There it is. How about that?
That's a fun fact.
That is a fun fact. It's his real life dog.
Dave, what do you got?
Well, I was going to let you go to that next one about the VHS.
Our favorite topic, VHSs. So we were talking about earlier that this movie came out in 81, and we had mentioned that they actually released it again the following summer in other countries and held off on releasing the VHS tape, to be released and sold. So VHSs of Raiders of the Lost Ark became available for sale in 1983 at a price of $39.95 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically $40 a piece for a VHS in 1983. In today's money, that's $125.
You know what's crazy though? At that time, though, that was cheap for a VHS because that's why they put it out at that price. It was actually like half of what normally it would cost.
Yeah,
because back then we talk about that it was $80-$90 to buy a movie.
Yeah,
before they started. I don't know if this set off that like, hey, you know what? We can lower the price and sell way more because they printed 500,000 copies initially, sold out. Boom, did another 500. So I think they sold like 1 million copies within a year at $39.95 a pop. What's the cost you think on a VHS? Maybe for them to mass produce $1, $2. You know what I mean?
At best, I mean you're nickels and pennies. Really, you're really mass production, especially with Chinese sweatshop labor.
Right.
Yeah.
So even if they're making $10 a copy out of that, that's 10 million easy.
Easy.
I just got one more. C-3PO and R2-D2 were cameos in this movie.
They were.
For real?
I did know that. I did know that.
Where at?
They were inside when he was looking through the stuff. They were on the wall there in one of the temples.
In the temple where the Ark is held.
Yes, they had
like on the
their scratches were in the wall there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's like a little Spielberg thing on there.
Yeah, they were
Lucas.
like hieroglyphics.
Yeah,
nice.
They're like, check that out.
So I got one more.
Go for it.
But no, this is a big one. So I mean, if anyone else has a fun fact, you better drop it.
No.
Drop.
No, I'm done.
This is going to make you lose your mind. All right, so we were kids, right? Obviously, and when we were growing up, we watched Saturday morning cartoons.
Yes.
So one of those Saturday morning cartoons was the Gummy Bears.
Bouncing here and there and everywhere.
The Gummy Bears?
Yeah, Gummy Bears.
High Adventures That's Beyond Compare. They are the Gummy Bears. You don't know them?
Magic and mystery is part of their history.
Now you're saying all those things, it kind of rings a bell.
Along with the secret of gummy berry juice.
But I'm thinking of like gummy bears you eat and stuff.
No, Gummy Bears. Bouncing here and there and everywhere.
It was a Disney animated cartoon.
I got to look it up then.
You don't remember that fucking theme song that we're reciting it to
We're
you?
just singing it. Oh my gosh, are you serious?
I mean, it's ringing a bell, but I can't picture it.
They didn't have the in Harrisburg.
Oh my God.
No.
Okay. So anyway, so this will blow Matt's mind more than.
All right, go ahead.
So the guy that sang that song was also the same guy that sang for, is it Simba from The Lion King?
Okay.
Yeah.
Who was the main lion guy? Was that Simba?
Yeah.
Was that James Earl Jones?
No. So but the singing voice, I'm saying.
Oh,
so
okay,
the singing voice. that guy that sang the Gummy Bear song and also sang as Simba or whatever from The Lion King. Wait, did Simba have a son?
Yeah.
What was his son's name?
Simba.
Was it?
Simba Jr.
Either way. So that's one of the goddamn lions that was singing.
Right.
So that was the same guy.
Okay.
Same guy singing. So that same guy is the lead singer of Toto.
No way.
Has forever been the lead singer of Toto.
Toto is actually a great band.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, don't sleep on them guys, man.
But wait.
It gets better.
Wait, what?
That guy is the son of John Williams.
The composer.
Mike drop.
Wow. So Toto, Africa.
Correct.
Rosanna,
All of it. Gummy Bears, Toto.
John Williams.
Simba.
That's his son.
They are the Gummy Bears.
So it's
my
genetic then, musical talent.
You can't feel it. It's genetic.
That's wild.
Boogie, boogie, boogie.
Boogie, boogie, boogie. Now I remember that. It's electric.
He did not sing that one.
He didn't, but he sang the Gummy Bears.
Well, I know what I'm looking up then. YouTube Gummy Bears. I got to see this to ring a bell. Real quick before we wrap it up, just the other commercials. I'll go through them real fast. Hyundai. If you bought a Hyundai back then, you'd get a trip to San Francisco and $1,000 rebate.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
In Canada?
Yeah, in Canada.
That's great.
There was a McCain Stern Saver. I don't remember that around here. I don't think we had that.
Nope.
Some Ultra Pampers, Vicks Formula 44D if you're sick.
Yes, 44D if you got a cold.
I don't know if that's still around. Head and Shoulders.
That has codeine in it, actually. You can't have that anymore.
That Head and Shoulders commercial was hilarious, by the way. I mean, hilarious. They go to the club. Like, you see them dancing. It reminded me of the club at from Coming to America, where when they go out to find the singles.
Yep.
Except it's all just white Canadians dancing to, soft rock.
Yeah, Rush or something.
Right.
Rush. Yeah, Rush.
Go ahead.
So the Head and Shoulders bottle, definitely different back in the 80s. Smaller, like a skinnier neck. It was cool to see that. It struck a memory as soon as I saw I'm like, oh yeah, that's what the bottle used to look like.
I was like, yeah, my dad had dandruff.
Yeah. I have Head and Shoulders in there because that's all they had at the store, so I use it.
With Head and Shoulders, though, you don't have dandruff.
That's right. Keep it away.
It tingles.
It does.
Yeah, I like that.
So we had another Foster's again, so we'll skip that. Then this one got me. So Pontiac had a Pontiac 6000 back in the 80s. This is 88. They were selling it, and the whole selling point was no charge air conditioning if you buy right now. So I guess that was like something, an option that they would upcharge you. It didn't just come standard.
Things have come a long way. Hell, when I was a kid, I remember my parents had purchased a station wagon, and it's something they just never had. You'd never think to ask the salesperson. You couldn't roll the back windows down.
They were locked? Like
there was no handle.
Oh shit.
There was nothing. The windows did not go down. That was an option. If you so chose, you could allow the passengers in the rear seats to roll the windows down in the passenger seats.
That's insane.
That is bananas.
That's something you wouldn't even think about asking about.
We had a Mercury Cougar, I remember, that had buttons to do the locks on the front and the back, but you still had to roll the windows down like that.
Oh wow.
But it had you could hit like toom, toom.
Power lock.
It had the power locks.
Like vacuum. It was like
there was
vacuum power.
Yeah, but there was no power windows.
So this one got me too. Kit Kat commercial, but the brand I would thought Kit Kat's Hershey, but it was Roundtree.
Indeed,
was the name of the company.
Not Richard Roundtree, just Roundtree.
No, not Richard Roundtree.
John Shaft.
Yeah, Shaft.
You're damn right. So a buddy of mine.
Shut your mouth.
A buddy of mine works for Hershey, and it's coincidental or whatever, serendipitous. You mentioned the Kit Kat. So at one point, I had asked him, this was after having discovered at local Asian markets. If you're not familiar, please go into the hood and go driving around. And after maybe the 9th or 10th bodega, you'll find an Asian market. So at the Asian market, they sell Kit Kats of all different flavors and colors.
Like green tea Kit Kat.
Yes, yeah.
Like ridiculous flavored Kit Kats out of control. So these come in from China. As do the spices and the MSG, monosodium glutamate. You can buy monosodium glutamate in like 5-pound bags.
And sprinkle it on.
Yeah.
Here, this will be good for months.
Yeah.
So Kit Kat, all these different flavors, all these different colors. And I asked him, why can't I get these elsewhere? Why do I have to get these at the Chinese market? And he had mentioned that, or he had relayed the story that Kit Kat is actually a franchised product where its licensing, it varies from country to country. And in America, Hershey has the license, but in China, Ching Chang Chong might have the license, and in Canada, Roundtree has the license.
That makes sense then.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah.
The last commercial here was Maxwell House, Max's new blend. And when I saw that, I kind of remembered that.
Yeah, sure. It's like new Coke. There was a riot.
Maxwell House.
Max's new
decaffeinated.
Yeah, it's that instant coffee.
Instant terrible.
But I guess the last thing we do, as always, is rate our little rating on this movie. So we have late fee, return, or burn. And Zap, it's your movie. You lead us off, I guess.
So let's put it into perspective. Are we saying at the time? So is it a VHS? It's a VHS rental.
It's a VHS rental. You can look at it. You can give us two. As one as the first time you saw it, and then now.
So the first time I saw it on somebody else's television, so I couldn't use that. But if I were to rent it, and my only way to watch it was by renting it. Like, it's not on demand. It's not on all of this. It's not repeating every 2 weeks. I would late fee this.
You're late feeing it.
100% I would late fee this. I would watch this over and over and over and over. Like, I've seen Harry Potter thousands of times. I would watch this hundreds of times.
This has a lot of replayability then.
Hell yeah.
Matt, what you got?
With grill marks.
Yeah, still I don't know, watching it again, I thought it was just a great movie. The way it was done, good acting. Like, the character actors in this I thought were incredible. Not just, Harrison Ford's, but every actor in this did a great job. I would say being a kid, I'd probably return it. Being what I watched today, I mean, you don't have to rent anything, but if it was a rental, I'd probably keep it.
Yeah.
Maybe pay the $2 extra.
Yeah, this is definitely one I agree. Like, back then, I don't think I would have, it was definitely an enjoyable movie, but I think a lot of stuff would have been over my head, and I would have definitely enjoyed it more back then if I was older. And I definitely would have late feed it, I believe.
Shit, yeah.
So back then I would have late feed it if I knew enough. I don't know what age I saw this movie. I definitely, if I saw it in 84, 85, let's say, when Temple of Doom was out, I'm 9, 10 years old. I probably would have late feed it just because of the cool shit in it, like the end, the melting and all that. So, I'd probably say late fee on this. Now, like Matt said, and like you said, you can stream, get it everywhere, so you're not late feeing anything, I guess.
No, nothing gets a late fee anymore.
Definitely new appreciation for this movie. Like I said, with a lot of these movies, the older you get, the more you appreciate them and stuff. So it was a good pick. So I don't know what we'll be back with on the next one. I think it's Matt's choice.
Oh,
because I had
like Sophie's.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just Matt. Just like Matt gets the pick.
Yeah, because I picked Die Hard. Zab had Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I guess you'll be up. But you guys got anything else in closing on this?
No, thanks, Zap. I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch again, especially in Canadian.
Yeah, that was the best.
That was cool.
Out on the internet at a website called archive.org.
Yeah, you can find it.
You can find it.
Really, I seen you guys like when you were talking on the phone, looking at like your text. I was like, "What the hell?" I just watched it. Like, what are they talking about? Like, I was like, I don't know this shit, so I had to watch what Zap sent, and it was cool.
I don't even know how it sounded.
And that was from
cool,
88, but I didn't know 88 was that long ago.
Yeah.
It just seems...
So to be clear, when we say 88, it is a VHS recording made in 88 of a movie that was 7 years old at the time.
Oh, yes, right. Yeah. 81 to 88 commercials.
Somebody definitely had like one of those VHS on SLP. Super long play. They probably recorded like 3 movies.
Yep. You can turn one VHS into it was 2 hours, 4 hours, or 6 hours.
Exactly. So
flip of a switch.
Yeah, SLP baby. But yeah, we'll definitely be back next week with a true crime, and then after that a VCR. So definitely let us know what you think. Don't forget to reach out on our Facebook and Instagram at Old Dirty Basement, and on TikTok at Old Dirty Basement Podcast. And I guess that's it for now. So we'll catch you where?
On the flip side.
If we don't see you sooner, we'll see you later.
Peace. Thanks for listening to The Vintage Cinema Review in the Old Dirty Basement. If you dig our theme music like we do, check out the Tsunami Experiment. Find them on Facebook. Their music is streaming on Spotify and Apple, and where great music is available.
You can find us at Old Dirty Basement on Facebook and Instagram, and at Old Dirty Basement Podcast on TikTok.
Peace.
We outie 5,000.